Hey, how you doing? I hope you had a good Christmas. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and the New Year's is coming up here, and so we thought today what we would talk a little bit about is some of what our plans are for the next year, or maybe get a little help from you on what our plans would be like for the next year. I mean, I've been discussing this with my producer Kevin here, and we've been beating this Hashimoto's up now for about 2.5 years, and there's a reason that we've been discussing it for 2.5 years, because it's really amazing at how prevalent it's becoming in society. It's crazy how many things it actually affects. If I have somebody that comes in here with chronic fatigue, there's about an 80% chance they have Hashimoto's, maybe 70%. If they come in here with chronic pain, there's about a 70% chance that they have Hashimoto's. If they come in here with post-concussion syndrome, or dizziness, or vertigo, or balance, or if they come in here with fertility problems, or if they come in here with irritable bowel syndrome, or if they come in here with any of these things, there's like a 70% chance that they have Hashimoto's. And so Hashimoto's, I think, is kind of like the new kind of stealth condition. It hasn't been completely worked up yet by the medical profession. And I think I'm being kind there, okay? But in their defense, it's just not their model right at this point in time. So anyway, we've been talking about it for a long time because it just delves into so many areas of physiology. It was probably one of the big ha-has in, this is what the chronic fatigue, chronic pain is for these people who've been told there's nothing wrong with them, and they have every symptom known to man, and they just keep getting drugs and supplements thrown at them and stuff like that. So it is big, and I'm certainly planning on continuing to discuss it. We get so many kind words on thank you so much. Some of them say, at this time I really can't contact you or do your program or something, but you've helped me so much, and that makes me feel good. I really like that. I mean, it's the main reason we're putting this stuff out, frankly. But it'd be kind of fun to do some other things if you're interested. And we're talking about what are the general areas that people might be interested in, and we thought, well, maybe we should ask you. Maybe we should ask for if you have a specific interest, then maybe you could let us know. Now, there's not a whole lot we don't do because we work with diet and lifestyle and nutritional supplements, and for some of you, we work with brain rehabilitation exercises and things of that nature. But yet, when I sit down and I discuss these things with my colleagues, we all look at each other and go, like, who couldn't really benefit from what we're doing based on what's going on with them? Because most people who have chronic conditions have underlying bad physiology. It's starting to come out now relative to who really passed away from COVID. And people who passed away from COVID were not healthy to begin with, for the most part. And that goes for pretty much most of the conditions that are out there. Some of the conditions that I thought we might play with a little bit would be like a generalized chronic pain. I'm in chronic pain. So I treat a lot of fibromyalgia patients. That's kind of more or less how this whole thing started. I don't have as many fibromyalgia patients as I used to, but they come in with Hashimoto's, and we figure out that they probably would have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia had they gone somewhere else. So, but chronic pain is kind of interesting because it's really not as exotic as a lot of people make it to be. I kind of am interested in like post-concussion syndrome and things like, mainly because I've had a lot of concussions myself. It's one of the few things I really have to deal with on a daily basis myself to keep it in line so that I can do this type of work. But chronic pain's kind of interesting. You'd be shocked at some of the things that cause chronic pain that you might even know that you're experiencing, but aren't connecting it to your chronic pain situation. Chronic fatigue is huge. Clearly, Hashimoto's is a part of chronic fatigue. Hashimoto's, for those of you who've listened to all these, you probably know it's part of chronic pain. Because especially if you got bad gut, you get leaky gut, a lot of toxins get out of your gut, they start flying around your system and your blood where they don't belong. that can be a contributor to chronic pain. It's like one of the 16 things that we know of that cause chronic pain. So maybe there's the things, maybe the 16 things that cause chronic pain. Chronic fatigue is not dissimilar, and certainly hypothyroid, which I'm not even sure exists, hypothyroid is part of chronic fatigue. Another spoiler alert, autoimmunity is part of chronic fatigue, but there's about 14 different other things. Blood sugar fluctuations. Oh, but my blood, how many times have I heard this? 1,000. Oh, but my blood sugar tests are normal, and so I don't have blood sugar problems. Then I got to argue with them. I go like, well, you got 16 out of 16 symptoms of blood sugar problems. And it takes 7 to 10 years for them to show up on a lab. I think you got a blood sugar problem. This is my life, okay? Because now I got to convince that person that they got a blood sugar problem. They got to change their diet. We got to get their blood sugar, and then they think it's like a miracle that they've started sleeping and their fatigue comes up. Blood sugar is huge, but nobody looks at blood sugar until it's like diabetes type 3.5, And so there's so many of these things that we can go over. If that's something that you'd like us to do, if we don't get any feedback, we'll continue to go on with what we're doing, because it does seem to be getting accepted pretty well, as far as us going over the Hashimoto's, and it does delve into all those different areas. But I would just like people to know that that functional medicine, if practiced properly, especially if combined with functional neurology, where you're treating the chronic stress responses along with the other physiology and dampening immune responses, it pretty much reaches into almost every nook and cranny of physiology. Some things respond better than others. I was just saying to Kevin here, who's behind the camera here, I was just saying, like, peripheral neuropathies, I'm not so sure about that, because there's so many different types of peripheral neuropathies, and some of them respond so easily to what we do, and others aren't going to respond at all. So I'm not sure about how far into that I want to get. I get a lot of people that come here with peripheral neuropathies because a lot of them are caused by autoimmunity, a lot of them are caused by Hashimoto's, a lot of them are caused by blood sugar problems. And so when we treat those, it goes away. So I like that. I like patients who come in and get better. But there's other ones that are just not going. And I think there's more that don't respond to the types of things we do than there are that do respond. And so that's kind of hard to put out there. I can maybe do a couple of presentations on it and delineate for you which one's which or something like that. But I'm just looking for feedback from you. I want to make sure I'm putting time in and putting things out to people for things that people want to hear. Because I like it when I hear from people who go, listen, I'm not in a position where I can do your program right at this point in time, but I watched this in this video and I did this, and this, and you know what? I do feel better. And so, thank you so much. And if there's a time when I can do your program, then I'm going to call you and do your program, and so on and so forth. So I like that. I like that. I like the fact that we're putting this in and that people are doing well from it. So the New Year's coming up. We have our ideas. We're going to plan with our ideas of what we're going to do. We're talking about maybe putting a couple of classes together or something along those nature. But before we put all that effort in, we thought maybe we would try to get some feedback. We got quite a few people listening now or watching, and quite a few people communicating with us. So after this New Year, when you have a little bit of time to think, after your gluten-free New Year, that's a joke for all the patients that are in my office. After that New Year, then give us some thought, and we will take these into consideration and see if we maybe not completely change, but kind of keep fine-tuning the Hashimoto's, but intersperse that with other topics that I am seeing explode all over the country. You want to talk about anxiety? Oh my God. It's like, who is not suffering from anxiety today? And so if we treat anxiety every day, that could be an interesting topic that we could hone down on for probably quite a few presentations. So anyway, so that's what I wanted to say. Again, hope you had a great holiday, great Christmas, great Merry Christmas. I hope you had a great Hanukkah before that, and so on and so forth. Hope you have a great New Year, and and hopefully you can maybe take a few minutes and just give me your thoughts on that. Hey, no, I like what you're doing, just keep doing it. Or here's some topics that you guys can consider. All right. So see you next year.